water, and I need some water real bad. What do I think about the fights last night? Man, bunch of good fights. Bunch of weird stuff happening in those fights. I mean, where do we start? Let's start with, let's start in the prelims, all right? Diego Sanchez fight. I'm surprised Diego Sanchez still looks like as good as he does, you know, after fighting for so long. So, you know, it's kind of impressive. Diego Sanchez is a beast. You got Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, dude, that guy, super athletic. Like, it's hard to say, like, is he actually as good as, like, he looks so far? You know? He's knocked out every one of his opponents within, like, the first minute. And, dude, that, like, flying knee last night. That flying knee was nasty, bro. One of the best flying knees I've ever seen. Like, that shit's gonna go on every highlight reel. Like, that was a nasty flying knee. And then he injured himself afterwards trying to do the worm. If you guys watched his previous fight, he did the worm after his fight. It was hilarious. He did the worm after his fight. Dana in the post-fight press conference was saying that he needs to stop doing that shit. But, man, as long as you don't get hurt, I'm down with that shit. That shit's hilarious. Strange, thanks to the Prime sub. I think that'll make people like him even more. Like, knock a dude out and you start doing the fucking worm in the octagon. It's pretty funny. Yo, Strange, thanks to the Prime sub. Thank you, Strange. So, like, Johnny Walker's really impressive. Like, I want to see him fight some other, like, really good guys in that division first to see what happens. Yeah, he said he hurt his shoulder, and they thought he hurt his shoulder, but the thing is after the press conference, they said that Dana said the doctors checked him out, and they said that nothing was wrong with him. And he said that Johnny Walker was saying that he didn't think he actually hurt his arm afterwards. Said the pain went away. Might have been like something. Maybe he like popped it in and out or some shit. Who knows? But then next, like the Stevens Zabit fight. Thought Zabit looked like really good in the first couple rounds. But then, like, the third round, like, Stevens obviously was turning it on. And I think Stevens kind of just wrote the book on how you beat Zabit. Even though he didn't win, you chase him down. Don't, like, you know, just keep getting in his face over and over again. Because he definitely was starting to get to him. I think if that fight went, like, another 2 rounds, 5-round fight, I think Stevens honestly would have ended up winning that fight. Looked like Zabit was starting to tire out. And, I don't know, Stevens started landing some big shots. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting in, like, Zabit's next fight. Who will they have him fight? Like, if he ended up fighting Aldo eventually, like, I think Aldo would get him, to be honest. Like, Aldo probably has the cardio and, like, the aggression that he could just, like, keep walking him down and outstrike him. The dude's 6'3" and 45 pounds. Here's the thing. Y'all got to realize about the fights, right? And fighters is people cut tons of weight. Like, this is something that I always have to remind people that I'm watching the fights with, right? Is that even though, yeah, they weighed in at 145 pounds, they cut an insane amount of weight. To give you a perspective, all right, of how much weight they can cut and, like, how much bigger they can be when they step inside the octagon. When Dillashaw cut to 125 to fight Cejudo, he weighed in the day before 125 pounds. Okay? When he got in the octagon the next day, they weighed him in before he got in. He was weighing like 152 pounds. So he gained 27 pounds. And that's going to be like in water and whatnot. But, like, that just shows you how much weight you can cut, right? It was 27 pounds that he gained. Like, so he cut from that, but then he gained it back, you know? Very quickly. So when you're, like, at 145 pounds, you probably can cut even more weight. Like, the bigger your body is, then you can probably even cut more weight, right? So, like, when you see these guys that look gigantic in the octagon and they're fighting light heavyweight, 205 pounds, well, the truth is they're probably more like 220, you know? Maybe even a little bit more. You know, maybe some less, but, like, some of these guys might be closer to, like, 220 pounds. So, yeah, like, the Stevens, the beat fight, that's what I was thinking. And then Garbrandt Munoz, the Munoz fight. I feel like Garbrandt, every single damn time he gets, every loss that I've seen him have, it's because he gets in these like crazy exchanges and ends up getting, you know, getting caught like every time. That's what happened against Dillashaw, like every time. That's what happened against Munoz last night. He just gets in those like brawls. It's because something that he likes doing, right? But I don't know, it hasn't worked out for him. Doesn't stick to his game plan. Yeah, maybe. That's probably not his game plan. His game plan is probably not to go in there and just trade bombs with some guy. Yeah, but Munoz, what is it? Pedro Munoz looked pretty good. Then the girls fought. You know, the girls fight was pretty good. I thought Tisha Torres, it just seemed, it was pretty much what like the announcers were saying, what Joe and Cruz were saying. Like, she would get in these situations that she just didn't really know how to get out of. And sometimes, you know, as a fighter, I would, like, I'm not a fighter. I'm saying them as a fighter. Them as a fighter, like, you know, it's just when you get into like a mountain or like a bad spot, like you just might not be able to get out of that shit sometimes. That's kind of going to be along the same lines with we'll jump ahead one fight, but then I'll come back to like Woodley. Man, Woodley got fucking manhandled the whole night, but it was so weird, man. He looked like something. He looked mentally off the whole time to me. He looked mentally off the whole damn time. Like, got completely destroyed the whole night. Usman looked super dominant. And I think that part of that is because, like, I knew Usman was good, but I didn't think he was, like, super good, right? After last night, I think he's a lot better than I honestly thought. Like, a lot better. And probably even better than, like, I currently think. But I think part of the reason he looks so good, I think Woodley just was completely off last night. Woodley's not that good, to be honest. No, dude, because he's done really fucking crazy shit in other fights. Like, something was wrong with him last night. Something was, like, legit wrong with him last night, man. I don't know what it was. Someone was mentally just not there. You know, like, some days, from playing sports and stuff, sometimes you're just like, you know, you're just, something's off. And that's really what it seemed like. It seemed like he was, like, scared. But, I have to, like, there's no way he could be scared, right? He's, like, a fucking professional fighter. He's fought against other savages. But it's, like, something was wrong mentally with him last night. Or, like, it looked like he had the flu for, like, the last week. It's like, he didn't even fight. And he's like, he goes to his corner, right? His corner's like, bro, you have to go forward. You need to let your hands go. You need to get in this guy's face. And he just kept back. He kept doing the same thing. Just back up to the cage, which is what Woodley normally does, right? He normally, like, backs up to the cage, baits him in, and then tries to knock people out. And maybe, like, he just stuck to that the whole time, even though his coaches were telling him. But something just didn't seem right at all. But, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing Usman fight more now. Because, like, now we're going to really get to see, huh? How good is Usman? They're gonna have him fight Covington next. Apparently, is what's going to go on. And I think after what I just seen, like, I don't think Covington's going to be able to do shit against him, to be honest. Marty equals the GOAT. All right, so now we'll go back to the Askren fight. Okay, so I tweeted out on Twitter before the Askren fight, we're gonna have a lot of answers on Askren after this fight. Boom. Guess what happened? We don't have any answers. Now we're just questioning everything, wondering what the hell happened, dude. Put me back in. So like Askren goes out there, tries to get the takedown, right? That slam from Lawler was the shit. That was a crazy slam. One of the craziest slams. I think he dropped Ben like literally on his head. In the post-fight press conference, Askren said that he got dropped on his head, and then he said his arm was trapped so he couldn't defend himself, and Lawler was just unloading on him. And I mean, we all saw it, right, dude? He was messed up. Within like 10 seconds, he was so messed up. But like, it was pretty impressive how he recovered. How he did. Like, with how messed up he was, he came back. I kind of wonder if Lawler could have poured it on a little bit more. And it finished it there. Obviously, I mean, he was probably trying to, right? I think part of it was that Askren finally kind of like got his senses back and was able to defend himself. But I mean, that was crazy. But then they get back up, you know. Ben gets him against the cage, ties him up, able to take him down. And then he went for that the guillotine, right? The choke. And it looked like Lawler was going to get out, right? And like they changed position a little bit. And then, so this was the weirdest part. I know you guys are all going to say it too. But it's like, he gets him against the cage like that. In the choke. Yeah, bulldog choke. And I don't know if like he was under the chin. I don't know. You couldn't really tell. But, I mean, I think everyone in the world at one point probably thought to themselves, Lawler is out. Because his arm was legit just fucking dangling, right? His arm was completely limp. Like, you go back, watch the replay, arm completely limp. And I know I've heard like before with like in jiu-jitsu and different things that like sometimes when people defend a choke, they try to relax their whole body. They try to relax their whole body to like help themselves in the choke. But I don't know, dude. I don't know if he went out for like a second and then like came back too. You know? And it was because, I mean, even when Herb Dean goes over there and grabs his arm, he grabs his arm, right? He lifts it up, like shakes it. It looks completely limp. He lets go of his arm. The arm drops for like a fifth of a second. And then Lawler like raises it up and gives a thumbs up. But like literally right when he gives a thumbs up, that's when Herb Dean's calling the fight off. And so I know a lot of people are saying bad stoppage, and honestly, he probably could have let it go a lot longer. But I mean, what else can you do as a, like, I guess as a ref, you're just like, okay, let his arm dangle for another 5 seconds to make sure this dude's out first. Like, I feel like Herb Dean kind of just got screwed in that, to be honest. I don't know. I just don't. The thing is, I don't have the experience, but maybe if I like had a little bit of an experience, like knew a little bit more about like jiu-jitsu or fighting, something I could understand what if Lawler wasn't out, what he was trying to do. It just doesn't make any sense to me, my current knowledge, why he would just let his arm go completely fucking limp. Like, wouldn't you be trying to like fight off the choke? Wouldn't you be using your arm to like get yourself into a better position? Like, why would you just let your arm dangle? You know? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Snapper, don't feel bad for me. I had a great time, man. Yeah, rhinoceros. I mean, that could be completely true. He might have been trying to let Ben burn his arms out. The thing about Ben Askren, he's got like a really, really, really good squeeze, right? You hear about it from a lot of people saying that he's got like one of the best, strongest squeezes they've ever, like, you know, whenever they've gotten choked or gotten in a position against him. So I don't know if Lawler was getting out of that or not. He was out. Like, I don't know if we can say that he was out, because I don't think we can honestly know. But it's just really weird that how the shit went. His arm was dangling. Then he like lifts his arm up. Arm falls slightly. Then he goes back up, like, thumbs up. And then right after that, like, right after he lets go, he like, what the hell? Why'd you stop the fight, you know? So, like, it'd be hard to believe that he was actually out at that point. Kind of shitty that things went that way. He'd rather that not be the case. Askren smashes watermelons. Yeah, he'll get like pumpkins and watermelons, and he'll like fucking squeeze them in half. Honestly, I don't know how hard that is. I've never personally tried to squeeze a watermelon or a pumpkin in half, but imagine it's not the easiest thing. He could have gone out for a split second and come back. It was a blood choke. Yeah, it's very true. What headset is this? It's an Astro A40s. Can we get a just chatting where you try that? I try to squeeze a damn watermelon in half. That'd be something. Or a pumpkin. That's a perfect shake. Perfect emotes. So yeah, I don't know. In the post-fight press conference, Dana was like that they wanted to do that fight over. Askren was like, you know, I didn't want to really do that fight to begin with. And he like straight up said like Lawler is not a good matchup for him. And he already took the fight, you know. His fight was stopped. In his eyes, he won the fight, which, I mean, is fair enough. You know? For his perspective, it's fair enough. And he said that he wants to fight some of the other guys in the division. That's part of the reason he came to the UFC, was to fight like a bunch of the guys that people consider to be the best in the world. So Odysseus, I mean, maybe, but it's not like he's going to be running far. He's going to have to go to someone else and fight them, right? Yeah, Jukes. And that's what Dana was saying. Dana was saying that they wanted to run it back, so they're going to see what happens. So, if he's saying that they want to run it back, they might not give him another chance. Do accelerants on Apex sack, or is it just one? I don't know what you mean by that, Bruin. Are you talking about ulti accelerants? You can stack as many of those as you want. Oh, they don't stack. You're talking about in inventory? They don't stack, no. That's what you're talking about. And then main event. I feel like the main event, John Jones and Anthony Smith, was literally like a replay of Usman versus Woodley, where it was a similar thing, like, and part of it might just be that like Usman and probably John Jones even more so, that they're just like so good to a point that they take away your weapons, right? And then it's the fighters just don't know what to do. Something along those lines, or maybe it was something along the lines of like Smith gets in there and he kind of realized, like, I'm fighting against John Jones. And maybe it, like, slows him down, makes him think twice. He didn't get, like, I want to say he just got absolutely the shit kicked out of him, but he definitely got beat pretty handily, right? Yeah, the interesting thing about Jones Smith fight, I mean, Jones completely beat him, but at one point there, right, it was the 4th round, I'm pretty sure, Jones hits Smith with an illegal knee while he's considered a downed opponent. If Nevada had adopted the newest rules, then Smith in that situation would not have been considered a down opponent. Because Smith had his hand down, one hand down, but both his knees were off the ground, right? Both his knees were off the ground. So if it was the newest rules, If Nevada State Athletic Commission adopted those, he would not have been considered a down opponent in that situation. He would have had to have both his hands down. But since it's the old rules still, he had one hand down, so he's considered a down opponent. So you cannot knee someone to the head when they're a down opponent, right? So Jones kneed him to the head, and it was a pretty damn good knee, right? Yo, Wags, thanks to the Prime sub, welcome. It was a pretty damn good knee. So in that moment, the doctor has to come over after an illegal shot and talk to Smith. All Anthony Smith has to do in that situation is say, I can't continue. Right? If he says, I can't continue, John Jones gets disqualified for the illegal shot, and Anthony Smith would have been the champion. But, obviously, you don't really want to win a belt that way. But he could have been the champ. That's all he had to do. All he had to do was say, no, I'm done. I can't continue. Something ain't right, you know? He hit me with that illegal shot, and I feel dazed now. Like, yeah, you know? He would have known the right thing to say. So, you got to respect that guy for that. Because a lot of people probably would have just said, yeah, I'm done. I can't continue. And won the belt that way. But it makes sense, right? Makes sense. You don't want to win the belt. He said after the post-fight press conference, I want to win the belt. I don't want to steal it. And that's exactly what it would be. He would have been stealing it in that situation, right? Cliff, thanks for the Prime sub. McGee, thanks for the Prime sub. Welcome, welcome. Askren would have taken the DQ. He might have. You're damn right. He might have. Imagine the shit he would get. It's true. He'd get a lot of shit. He'd for sure get a rematch, though, right? Like, that's what would have ended up happening. He'd get the belt. They'd have to run it back. They'd fight John Jones again, you know. Yeah, you got to respect that, man. All right. So here's the deal. We talked about all the fights. Those are my thoughts. Thoughts on Cody losing? We talked about it, bro. We talked about it. You could just go back a little bit in the VOD. I kind of went in order and things. Basically, I just said that he always ends, every time I see him lose, because he gets in some crazy exchange and gets knocked out, pretty much. He probably needs to stop doing that. But also, at the same time, whenever I'm talking about any of this stuff, anybody out there, realize I'm just a fan, dude. Okay? You know, I don't have any special knowledge or shit on fighting. Yada, yada. I'm just a fan. All right, so the shit I say, don't take it too serious. Don't take it too serious. There's like some dude out there that's fucking been fighting for a while, you know? He's probably like, this kid's fucking idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about. Hold the elevator. Thanks to the brand new sub.